The marble floors of the Grand Meridian Hotel gleam under crystal chandeliers as Richard Sterling adjusts his platinum cufflinks. The 55-year-old CEO of Sterling Industries commands the penthouse conference room like a king surveying his kingdom, his tailored Italian suit reflecting the afternoon sunlight streaming through floor-to-ceiling windows. Today's meeting could secure the biggest deal in his company's history, a multi-billion-dollar partnership with Chin Group from Beijing. "Where the hell is my translator?" Sterling barks into his phone, his face flushing red as he paces behind the mahogany conference table. The emergency call had come 30 minutes ago. His professional interpreter collapsed from a stroke and was rushed to the hospital. "I don't care what it costs. Find me someone who speaks Chinese, now." Across the room, Maya Johnson quietly polishes the crystal water glasses, her movements precise and nearly invisible. The 28-year-old woman has perfected the art of being unseen during her 8 months as housekeeping staff at the hotel. Her dark skin glistens with perspiration from the morning's cleaning duties, and her simple black uniform bears the hotel's embroidered logo. She pauses as she overhears Sterling's frantic conversation, her eyes catching on the Chinese characters displayed on his laptop screen. "Henfuza," she murmurs under her breath to Maria, her fellow housekeeper, commenting on the contract's complexity in perfect Mandarin. Sterling's head snaps up like a predator sensing prey. His cold blue eyes lock onto Maya with the intensity of a man who's just spotted his salvation. "You, girl," he shouts, pointing a manicured finger in her direction. "Come here immediately." Maya sets down her cloth and approaches cautiously, her heart already sinking. She's seen this look before, the entitled expectation of men who view her as nothing more than a resource to be exploited. "Yes, sir? You speak Chinese, I heard you." Sterling's voice carries the authority of someone accustomed to immediate obedience. "I need you to translate for my meeting, right now." "I'm sorry, sir, but I'm scheduled for housekeeping duties. Perhaps you could contact the hotel's concierge service." "I don't have time for your suggestions." Sterling's voice rises to a near shout, causing other staff members to glance nervously in their direction. "I'm paying this hotel thousands of dollars for this venue. That means I'm paying your salary. You'll do what I tell you to do, or you'll be looking for a new job by tonight." Maya's hands tighten around the cleaning cloth. She thinks of her grandmother lying in the hospital bed 3 states away, the mounting medical bills, the collection notices piling up on her tiny apartment's kitchen counter. The $15.00 an hour she earns here isn't much, but it's everything she has. "Sir, I understand your situation, but I'm not a certified translator. I really think you should—" "Are you deaf?" Sterling steps closer, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. "I'm not asking you to think. I'm telling you what to do. People like you don't get to make decisions. You follow orders. That's how the world works." From across the room, Maya notices Mr. Chen Wei-ming, the distinguished Chinese businessman entering with his small entourage. The elderly man's face is serene, but his eyes are sharp as they take in the scene unfolding before him. Sterling immediately straightens his tie and plasters on a brilliant smile. "Mr. Chen, welcome, welcome." Sterling rushes forward with outstretched arms, completely ignoring Maya's presence. "I apologize for the delay. We'll begin immediately." But when Mr. Chen responds in rapid Mandarin, Sterling's confident facade crumbles. The Chinese businessman's words hang in the air like a question mark, and Sterling's smile becomes increasingly strained as the seconds tick by in uncomfortable silence. That is to say," Sterling stammers, his face reddening as he turns back to Maya with desperate fury. "You will translate, now, or I'll make sure you never work in this city again." Maya reaches into her uniform pocket and pulls out a small business card, placing it gently on the conference table. Mr. Chen's eyes widen slightly as he glances at the card, then back at Maya with unmistakable recognition. Maya Johnson carries the weight of her Harvard education like a secret burden as she returns to her housekeeping cart in the hotel's service corridor. The PhD in linguistics degree hidden in her small apartment feels like a cruel joke most days, a $200,000 0 cents piece of paper that couldn't compete with the reality of her skin color in job interviews. She's lost count of how many times she's been told she was overqualified for positions that required exactly her skill set, the rejection letters always politely worded but carrying the same underlying message. The jade pendant around her neck catches the fluorescent light as she moves, her grandmother's final gift before the cancer took over. Nai had been a literature teacher in Chinatown for 40 years, speaking 7 languages fluently and filling their small apartment with the music of different cultures. Ji hui xinggu li liang, she would say, touching the pendant with weathered fingers. Wisdom overcomes strength, little one. Never forget that. Maya's fingers trace the carved characters now as she thinks about this morning's call from the hospital. The chemotherapy isn't working. The doctors want to try an experimental treatment that insurance won't cover, $28,000. She calculates quickly in her head. At her current salary, working double shifts, she could have the money in 18 months. Too late. You okay, mija? Maria appears beside her, concern etched on her weathered face. The older woman has become like a second mother to Maya, sharing her homemade lunches and listening to her dreams during their brief breaks. Just tired, Maya lies, forcing a smile. She can't burden Maria with her problems. The woman has 3 kids of her own to support on a housekeeper's wages. Her phone buzzes with a text from the hospital. Payment required before next treatment. Please call to discuss options. Maya's stomach clenches as she silently adds it to the growing list of messages she can't bear to answer. The irony isn't lost on her. She speaks 7 languages fluently, holds a doctorate from one of the world's most prestigious universities, and has published research papers on cross-cultural communication. Yet here she is, cleaning toilets and emptying trash cans because the world can't see past her appearance to recognize her worth. In her cramped studio apartment, Maya keeps her research materials hidden in a box under her bed. Her thesis on racial bias in corporate hiring practices feels like a monument to her own failure. Brilliant observations about a system that continues to crush her dreams. She'd intended to change the world with her knowledge. Instead, she scrubs floors for people who wouldn't hire her to clean their offices. Mrs. Chen, the head chef in the hotel's kitchen, has been her only real friend here. The elderly Chinese woman reminds Maya of her grandmother, sharing stories of her homeland and teaching her regional dialects during their stolen moments together. You have gift, Mrs. Chen tells her frequently in broken English. Too much gift for this place. But gifts don't pay medical bills or rent. Reality does, and Maya's reality is that she needs this job more than her pride. She straightens her shoulders and returns to the penthouse level, where Sterling's increasingly frantic voice echoes through the hallways. Richard Sterling has built his empire on the belief that money can solve any problem and power can bend any will. Born into wealth, educated at exclusive schools, and handed a thriving company at age 25, he's never encountered an obstacle that couldn't be overcome with enough pressure and intimidation. People like Maya, working-class minority, dependent on their wages, are meant to be grateful for any opportunity he provides. His frustration mounts as he watches Mr. Chen check his expensive watch with growing impatience. This deal represents everything Sterling values: prestige, profit, and the expansion of his influence into international markets. Losing it because of a communication barrier is unthinkable. The hotel's crisis deepens as Sterling's demands escalate. His threats to Maya grow more specific and cruel, his language more openly discriminatory. He doesn't realize that his words are being overheard by other staff members, or that Mr. Chen's English is better than he pretends. But Maya knows. She recognizes the careful way Mr. Chen positions himself to observe the interaction, the subtle shift in his expression when Sterling's mask slips. She also knows that her business card, the one she carries from her consulting days, has revealed more than she intended. The collision of these worlds is about to begin. Sterling's voice cuts through the hotel's refined atmosphere like a blade as he addresses the gathered staff. "I want this girl fired immediately," he declares, pointing at Maya with theatrical authority. "She's being insubordinate and disrupting my business meeting." The hotel manager, a nervous man named Phillips, appears with hurried steps and apologetic gestures. "Mr. Sterling, please, what seems to be the problem?" "The problem is that your employee here thinks she's too good to do her job." Sterling's voice drips with condescension. "I asked her to provide a simple translation service and she's refusing. In my world, that's grounds for immediate termination." Maya's heart pounds as she watches her livelihood hang in the balance. She thinks of her grandmother's medical bills, the rent due next week, the precarious stability she's fought so hard to maintain. "Mr. Phillips, I explained to Mr. Sterling that I'm not a certified translator. I was only trying to suggest proper channels." "I don't want to hear excuses," Sterling interrupts, his face flushing red. "This is exactly the kind of attitude I'm talking about. You people think you can pick and choose which orders to follow. Well, let me tell you something. That's not how the real world works." The phrase, "you people," hangs in the air like a toxic cloud. Several staff members exchange uncomfortable glances, and Maya feels the familiar sting of thinly veiled racism that she's encountered countless times before. Mrs. Chen emerges from the kitchen, her face stern as she takes in the scene. "What is happening here?" she asks in heavily accented English, positioning herself protectively near Maya. "Nothing that concerns you," Sterling snaps at the elderly woman. "This is between me and your lazy colleague here." "Maya is good worker," Mrs. Chen states firmly. "She help everyone. You wrong to—" "Wrong?" Sterling's voice rises to a near shout. "I'm a guest in this hotel, spending more money in one day than you people make in a year, and you're telling me I'm wrong? This is exactly what I'm talking about. No respect, no work ethic, just attitude and excuses." The word "people" drips with contempt, and Maya sees several of her colleagues, Maria, the housekeeping staff, even some of the wait staff, begin to gather at the edges of the scene. Sterling's mask is slipping, revealing the ugly prejudices that fuel his sense of superiority. "I work 2 jobs to support my family," Maya says quietly, her voice steady despite the storm of emotions inside her. "I've never missed a shift, never been late, never received a single complaint. I'm simply trying to explain that translation services require—" "Require what? A college degree?" Sterling laughs mockingly. "Please, don't insult my intelligence. People like you don't have college degrees. You have excuses and sob stories, but you don't have the intelligence or work ethic to earn a real education." The words hit Maya like physical blows. She thinks of the countless hours she spent studying, the research she conducted, the papers she published. The irony is so sharp it takes her breath away. "Maybe," she says carefully, "you shouldn't make assumptions about people based on their appearance or their circumstances." Sterling's eyes narrowed dangerously. "Are you lecturing me? Are you actually standing there in your cleaning uniform trying to teach me about assumptions? That's rich. That's really rich." Mr. Chen, who has been watching this exchange with growing displeasure, steps forward. He speaks in rapid Mandarin to his assistant, his tone clearly indicating frustration. Sterling looks between them desperately, his business deal slipping away as the language barrier becomes insurmountable. "You see?" Sterling gestures wildly at the Chinese delegation. "You see what your attitude is costing everyone? This is a multi-billion-dollar deal, and you're sabotaging it because you think you're too good to do your job." Maya looks around at the faces surrounding her, some sympathetic, others fearful, all waiting to see how this confrontation will resolve. She sees Phillips wringing his hands, clearly torn between appeasing his high-pay guest and protecting his employee. She sees Mrs. Chen's worried expression, Maria's silent support, the mixture of curiosity and concern from the other staff members. In that moment, Maya makes a decision that will change everything. She reaches into her pocket and pulls out her business card, not the one she'd placed on the table earlier, but her real one, the the one from her previous life. She holds it up so Sterling can see it clearly. "Before you have me fired," she says, her voice calm and clear, "you might want to know who you're talking to." Sterling snatches the card from her hand, his face immediately shifting from smug confidence to confusion as he reads the credentials printed there. His mouth opens slightly, then closes, as if he's struggling to process the information. Mr. Chen, who has been watching this entire scene with increasing interest, steps forward and speaks in perfect Mandarin. "Je genan ren shen she go yi. Ko xiao dung." The words hang in the air like a challenge, and every eye in the room turns to Maya. Sterling looks desperately between her and the Chinese businessman, his face growing pale as he realizes his interpreter crisis has just become something much worse. Maya takes a deep breath, her hand instinctively moving to touch the jade pendant beneath her uniform. Then, in flawless Mandarin, she responds to Mr. Chen. "Wo wan tuan tong yi zhe zi jin she shi ru ke jie shou de." The silence that follows is deafening. Sterling's face goes through a series of expressions: shock, disbelief, dawning horror, as the implications of what he's just witnessed begin to sink in. Around the room, staff members exchange amazed glances, and Phillips looks like he might faint. Maya turns to address the room, switching seamlessly between languages as she speaks. In Mandarin, Mr. Chen just said, "This man is despicable. Cancel the contract." "I agree that such behavior is unacceptable." She pauses, letting her words register. "En español, diría que este hombre no merece respeto. In French, je dirais qu'il a révélé son vrai caractère. And in English, I would say that you, Mr. Sterling, have just shown everyone exactly who you are." Sterling's hands shake as he stares at the business card. This can't be real. You're a cleaning lady. You can't possibly have a PhD from Harvard. This is some kind of fraud. Maya reaches into her uniform pocket and pulls out her wallet, extracting her Massachusetts driver's license and her Harvard alumni card. She places them on the conference table with careful precision. Dr. Maya Johnson, class of 2019, doctoral dissertation on cross-cultural communication barriers in international business. Published in the Journal of Applied Linguistics. Mr. Chen approaches the table and examines the credentials, his face showing a mixture of recognition and amazement. He speaks in English now, his accent slight but his words perfectly clear. "Dr. Johnson, I have read your work. Your research on cultural bias in corporate environments is groundbreaking. I had no idea you were here." "I'm here," Maya replies, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what she's revealing, "because I have student loans to pay and a grandmother who needs medical care. I'm here because despite my education and qualifications, I was told I was overqualified for positions that required exactly my skill set. I'm here because sometimes the world doesn't see past the color of your skin to recognize your worth." Sterling's face has gone from pale to ashen. But you're working as a maid. Why would you... If you really have these qualifications, why would you take this job? "Because," Maya says, her voice carrying the weight of countless rejections and compromises, "I needed the work. Because pride doesn't pay rent or medical bills. Because sometimes survival means taking whatever opportunity you can find, even when it's far beneath your capabilities." The room has filled with people now, hotel staff, other guests, even some of the Chinese delegation who have been drawn by the commotion. Sterling looks around desperately, as if seeking support or escape, but finding only shocked faces and disappointed stares. "You people don't understand," he stammers, his usual confidence completely shattered. "This isn't how things work. This isn't... She's supposed to be..." "Supposed to be what?" Maya interrupts, her voice cutting through his protests. "Supposed to be grateful for any scraps you throw my way? Supposed to accept your insults and prejudices without question? Supposed to be less than I am so you can feel better about yourself?" Mr. Chen speaks up, his voice carrying the authority of someone accustomed to making important decisions. "Mr. Sterling, I came here today prepared to discuss a partnership worth $3 billion. Instead, I have witnessed something that makes me question everything I thought I knew about your company and your character. Sterling's business instincts kick in, overriding his shock and embarrassment. Mr. Chen, please, let me explain. This is all a misunderstanding. I was simply trying to solve a communication problem, and I may have, that is to say, I might have been a bit forceful in my approach. Forceful? Maya's voice rises slightly. You threatened my job, insulted my intelligence, and made racist assumptions about my capabilities. You reduced me to a stereotype and treated me like property. That's not forceful, that's discriminatory. I'm not a racist, Sterling protests, his voice taking on a desperate edge. I employ people of all backgrounds in my company. I donate to charity. I support diversity initiatives. Do you? Maya asks, her tone dangerously quiet. Because for the past 30 minutes, you've demonstrated exactly what you think about people who look like me. You've shown everyone in this room that your idea of diversity is having people like me clean your offices and serve your coffee, not sit at your conference tables or contribute to your decisions. The crowd around them has grown larger, and Sterling becomes aware that several people are recording the confrontation on their phones. His media-trained instincts scream warnings, but his anger and embarrassment override his better judgment. You're twisting my words, he accuses, pointing at Maya with shaking fingers. You're making this about race when it's about professionalism and respect. You work for this hotel, which means you work for me when I'm paying for services. No, Maya replies, her voice carrying the authority of someone who has finally had enough. I work for myself. I work to survive, to care for my family, to build a future despite every obstacle people like you place in my path. I don't work for you, and I certainly don't owe you the right to treat me as less than human. Mr. Chen turns to his assistant and speaks in rapid Mandarin. The younger man nods and begins packing up their materials. Mr. Sterling, Mr. Chen says in English, I have seen enough. This meeting is over. Sterling watches in horror as his billion-dollar deal literally walks away from him. His face cycles through emotions, panic, rage, desperation, before settling on a dangerous combination of humiliation and fury. You have no idea what you've just done, he hisses at Maya. You think you're so smart, so superior, but you've just cost yourself everything. I have lawyers, I have connections, I have power. When I'm finished with you, you'll never work anywhere again. Maya meets his gaze steadily, her hand still touching the jade pendant at her throat. Are you threatening me, Mr. Sterling? I'm promising you, he snarls, his mask completely off now. People like you need to learn your place. You need to understand that there are consequences for stepping out of line, for forgetting who you are and where you belong. The words hang in the air like a challenge, and Maya realizes that this moment, this exact moment, is why she's here. Not just in this hotel, not just in this confrontation, but in this life. Everything she's endured, every rejection she's faced, every compromise she's made has led to this single point where she must choose between silence and truth. She looks around the room at the faces watching her, some sympathetic, some curious, some still skeptical. She sees Mrs. Chen nodding encouragingly, Maria clutching her hands together in prayer, Phillips looking terrified but unable to look away. She sees the phones recording, the witnesses gathering, the moment crystallizing into something that will be remembered. Maya takes a deep breath and speaks, her voice carrying across the room with crystal clarity. Mr. Sterling, wisdom doesn't depend on the color of your skin, but arrogance certainly shows its true colors. And today, you've shown everyone exactly what color yours is. Sterling's face contorts with rage as Maya's words hit their mark. The people around them have grown quiet, sensing that they're witnessing something significant unfold. The hotel's marble floors seem to amplify every sound. The soft rustle of clothing, the distant hum of air conditioning, the sharp intake of breath from the crowd. You think you're clever, Sterling snarls, his voice dropping to a menacing whisper. You think your little word games and your fancy degree make you special, but let me tell you something, Dr. Johnson. He spits her title like a curse. The real world doesn't care about your credentials. The real world cares about power, and I have it while you clean toilets. Maya doesn't flinch. Instead, she reaches into her pocket and pulls out her smartphone, scrolling through it with deliberate calm. You're right about power, Mr. Sterling, but you're wrong about who has it. She turns the screen toward him, showing a recording app that's been running. For the past 45 minutes, this has been documenting everything you've said. Sterling's eyes widen as he processes the implications. You recorded me? Without my consent? That's illegal. Actually, Maya replies, her voice steady and professional, Massachusetts is a two-party consent state, but we're currently in New York, which allows one-party consent for recordings. As a Harvard Law graduate might tell you, if you'd bothered to hire one who looks like me. The crowd murmurs at this revelation and Sterling's face goes from red to purple. You can't use that. I'll sue you for invasion of privacy, for harassment, for what? Maya interrupts, her voice rising with quiet authority. For documenting your own words? For preserving evidence of your behavior? Mr. Sterling, everything on this recording is simply you being yourself. Mr. Chen, who has been watching this exchange with growing interest, steps forward. Mr. Sterling, I think perhaps we should discuss what has transpired here today. There's nothing to discuss, Sterling explodes, his composure completely shattered. This is a setup. This woman has orchestrated this entire situation to make me look bad. She's probably working for my competitors, probably trying to sabotage my business. Your business? Maya's voice carries a note of incredulous laughter. Mr. Sterling, you sabotaged your own business the moment you opened your mouth. You sabotaged it when you assumed my skin color determined my intelligence. You sabotaged it when you treated me like property instead of a person. Sterling spins around, addressing the crowd like a politician at a rally. Don't you see what's happening here? This is exactly the kind of manipulative behavior that's destroying American business. People like her play the race card whenever they don't get their way, whenever they want to avoid taking responsibility for their own failures. The silence that follows is deafening. Maya looks around the room at the faces, some horrified, some angry, all bearing witness to Sterling's complete meltdown. She sees hotel staff members who work alongside her every day, seeing their colleague in a completely new light. She sees guests who came to witness a business meeting and instead found themselves confronting uncomfortable truths about power and prejudice. Mr. Sterling, Maya says, her voice cutting through the tension like a blade. You want to talk about responsibility? Let's talk about it. You're responsible for treating people as less than human. You're responsible for perpetuating systems that keep qualified individuals in jobs far beneath their capabilities. You're responsible for the words that came out of your mouth today. I'm responsible for running a successful business, Sterling shouts back. I'm responsible for providing jobs for thousands of people, for contributing to the economy, for building something meaningful with my life. What are you responsible for? What have you built? What have you contributed beyond complaints and accusations? Maya's eyes flash with something dangerous. What have I built? I've built a life despite every obstacle people like you have placed in my path. I've built an education that you couldn't buy with all your inherited money. I've built character, while you've built nothing but walls to keep people like me out. She pauses, letting her words sink in before continuing. But you want to know what I'm really responsible for? I'm responsible for my grandmother's medical care. I'm responsible for paying back every penny of my student loans. I'm responsible for maintaining my dignity while doing work that people like you look down on. I'm responsible for proving every single day that worth isn't determined by the circumstances you're born into. Sterling's face twists with contempt. Spare me the sob story. Everyone has problems. Everyone has obstacles. The difference is that some people overcome them without playing victim, without blaming others for their failures. Failures? Maya's voice rises with genuine anger for the first time. Mr. Sterling, my failure isn't in my circumstances. It's in believing that people like you might actually judge me by my character instead of my appearance. My failure is in thinking that merit might matter more than prejudice. My failure is in having hope that things might be different. The room has become completely silent, except for the soft whir of phones recording and the distant sounds of the hotel's operation. Sterling looks around desperately, as if seeking support, but finds only judgment and disappointment in the faces surrounding him. "You're all being manipulated," he declares, his voice taking on a hysterical edge. "Can't you see what she's doing? She's using emotional manipulation to make you forget that she's the one who caused this entire situation. She's the one who refused to do her job. She's the one who escalated this into something it never needed to be." Mr. Chen speaks up, his voice carrying the weight of moral authority. "Mr. Sterling, I have been in business for 40 years. I have negotiated with leaders from every continent, dealt with cultural differences, language barriers, and complex international relations. Never, never have I witnessed such behavior from someone who claims to be a professional." "You don't understand American business culture," Sterling protests weakly. "You don't understand the pressures we face, the expectations we have to meet." "I understand perfectly," Mr. Chen replies, his voice ice cold. "I understand that you believe money gives you the right to treat people as objects. I understand that you believe power means you can speak to human beings in ways that no civilized person should. I understand that you represent everything my company chooses not to associate with." Sterling's desperation reaches a crescendo as he realizes the full scope of what he's lost. "This is about money, isn't it? She's promised you something, offered you a better deal. How much is it going to cost me to fix this? How much do you want?" The suggestion hangs in the air like a toxic cloud, and Maya feels something shift inside her. A final, decisive movement away from any possibility of reconciliation or understanding. "Mr. Sterling," she says, her voice carrying the authority of someone who has finally found her power, "you still don't understand. This isn't about money. This isn't about deals or negotiations or business partnerships. This is about human dignity. This is about the right of every person to be treated with basic respect, regardless of their job, their background, or their appearance. And that's something you can't buy, no matter how much money you have." Sterling stares at her, his face a mask of fury and confusion. "You're making a mistake. You're making a huge mistake. When this is over, when the cameras stop rolling and the crowd goes home, you'll still be exactly what you are, a cleaning lady with delusions of grandeur. And I'll still be who I am, someone with the power to make sure your delusions never become reality." Maya meets his gaze steadily, her hand moving to the jade pendant at her throat. "Mr. Sterling, I know exactly who I am. The question is, do you?" The confrontation has reached its peak, and everyone in the room seems to hold their breath, waiting to see how this extraordinary moment will resolve itself. Sterling has revealed himself completely, and Maya has found her voice. Now comes the reckoning. Maya touches the jade pendant at her throat, feeling the smooth surface that has carried her grandmother's wisdom across generations. When she speaks, her voice carries the quiet authority of someone who has finally found her moment of truth. "You want to know who I am, Mr. Sterling? I'm the granddaughter of a woman who fled poverty in China to build a better life in America. I'm the daughter of a mother who worked 3 jobs to send me to school. I'm a Harvard PhD who speaks 7 languages and has published research that scholars worldwide use to understand cultural communication." She pauses, letting her words resonate through the silent room. "But more than that, I'm a human being who refuses to let your prejudices define my worth." Sterling's face contorts with a mixture of rage and disbelief. "You think your story makes you special? You think your struggles give you the right to lecture me? I've built an empire while you've been playing victim. I've created jobs while you've been making excuses. Have you? Maya's voice cuts through his protests like a blade. Or have you simply inherited power and used it to keep people like me in our place? Tell me, Mr. Sterling, how many people of color hold executive positions in your company? How many women? How many people from backgrounds like mine have you promoted based on merit rather than appearance? Sterling's silence is telling, and Maya continues. I thought so. Your empire is built on the same foundations as your personality: exclusion, prejudice, and the belief that worth is determined by circumstances of birth rather than character or capability. Mr. Chen steps forward, his voice carrying the weight of moral authority. Mr. Sterling, I have heard enough. Chen Group will not be doing business with Sterling Industries. More than that, I will be sharing what I have witnessed today with my colleagues throughout the international business community. You can't do that. Sterling's desperation breaks through his anger. This is a private matter. This is between me and the hotel staff. You can't destroy my business because of one misunderstanding? Misunderstanding? Maya's voice rises with incredulous laughter. Mr. Sterling, there's no misunderstanding here. You've shown us exactly who you are. You've demonstrated your values, your character, and your complete lack of basic human decency. The only thing I misunderstood was thinking that someone in your position might actually deserve the respect that comes with it. Sterling spins around, addressing the crowd with the manic energy of a man whose world is collapsing. You're all being manipulated. Can't you see what she's doing? She's using her race, her gender, her sob story to make you forget that she started this entire situation. She's the one who refused to do her job. My job, Maya says, her voice steady and clear, is to clean rooms and maintain the hotel standards. My job is not to be your personal translator, your emotional punching bag, or your target for racist abuse. My job is not to accept your treatment of me as less than human. She looks around the room at the faces watching her, some inspired, some ashamed, all bearing witness to this moment of truth. But you know what? Today I'm going to do a job that isn't in my job description. Today, I'm going to teach you something about consequences. Maya pulls out her phone and begins scrolling through her contacts. Mr. Sterling, you mentioned that you have lawyers and connections. Well, so do I. I have classmates at Harvard Law who specialize in employment discrimination. I have colleagues in media who are very interested in stories about corporate racism. I have friends in social justice organizations who have been waiting for exactly this kind of documented evidence. Sterling's face goes pale. You can't. You wouldn't. I can, and I will. Maya replies calmly, because this isn't just about me. This is about every qualified person who has been turned away because of their appearance. This is about every woman who has been told she's not management material. This is about every person of color who has been kept in service positions despite their education and capabilities. She starts typing on her phone, her fingers moving with purposeful precision. I'm sending this recording to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the New York Attorney General's Office, and the Harvard Alumni Association. I'm also sending it to several journalists who have been following stories about workplace discrimination. Stop. Sterling lunges forward, reaching for her phone. You can't destroy my life over one conversation. You can't ruin everything I've built because of a misunderstanding. Maya steps back, holding the phone out of his reach. I'm not destroying anything, Mr. Sterling. I'm simply making sure that your words reach the people who need to hear them. I'm making sure that your actions have consequences. I'm making sure that other people like me don't have to endure what you put me through today. Sterling's lawyer instincts kick in, even through his panic. This is extortion. You're trying to blackmail me into what? What do you want? Money? A job? What's your price? Maya looks at him with something approaching pity. You still don't understand, do you? This isn't about what I want from you. This is about what you owe to every person you've dismissed, every qualified candidate you've overlooked, every human being you've treated as less than worthy of basic respect. She pockets her phone and straightens her shoulders. I don't want your money, Mr. Sterling. I don't want a job in your company. I don't want anything from you except for you to face the consequences of your choices. Mr. Chen approaches Sterling, his expression grave. Mr. Sterling, in my culture, we have a saying, "The superior man is modest in his speech, but exceeds in his actions." Today you have shown us the opposite. You have exceeded in your speech, but failed completely in your actions. Sterling's last desperate gambit emerges as he addresses the crowd. This is exactly what's wrong with America today. Political correctness has gone too far. In his desperate confusion, Sterling unleashes his final, most egregious blow, and his biggest mistake. You think you can do anything to me? I am Richard Sterling. I have money. I have power, he snarls, his voice rising in a desperate crescendo. I will use everything I have to destroy you. A black girl like you cannot defeat me. You will regret provoking me. His words echo through the lobby, captured by dozens of phones and cameras. His naked racism, his utter contempt are laid bare for all to witness. Mr. Chen looks at Sterling with a mixture of pity and disgust. Mr. Sterling, I will not just cancel the contract, Mr. Chen states in clear, decisive English. I will report this entire incident, including the evidence Ms. Maya Johnson provided, to the Board of Directors of Sterling Industries. You will face legal and ethical consequences. Maya looks directly into Richard Sterling's eyes, her face no longer showing anger, only a profound sense of calm and understanding. She speaks in Chinese, then immediately translates into English, her voice resonating through the lobby like a clear declaration. Intelligence knows no color, but pride does, and today he chose the whole world to be his true color. Wisdom knows no color, but arrogance does, and today you have shown the world your true colors. Sterling stands there utterly helpless. His career, his reputation, and his future crumble before his very eyes. The aftermath of that day unfolds swiftly and decisively. Richard Sterling faces a rigorous internal investigation by the Sterling Industries Board of Directors, his face a mask of exhaustion as he endures severe reprimands. Simultaneously, stock tickers display a precipitous drop in Sterling Industries' share value, a direct consequence of the cancelled multi-billion-dollar contract with the Chen Group. In stark contrast, Mr. Chen and Maya shake hands, a genuine smile gracing Mr. Chen's lips, marking the beginning of a new, respectful partnership. At the dining room, Mr. Chen puts down his fork and respectfully scoops up. After that day, Richard Sterling faced a severe internal investigation from the Board of Directors. Maya's voice narrates, calm and reflective. The multi-billion-dollar contract with Chen Group was cancelled. Sterling Industries' stock plummeted. As for me, I received an offer to become a cultural advisor for the Chen Group. A scene unfolds within the hotel, where staff members are engrossed in an anti-discrimination training session. Mr. Davis, the hotel manager, stands at the front, addressing them with newfound conviction. The Grand Elite Hotel also implemented significant changes. All employees underwent training on cultural diversity and anti-discrimination policies, Maya explains, her words emphasizing the positive shift. Everyone began treating each other with genuine respect, regardless of their position or background. Maya sits at her small apartment desk, her computer screen casting a soft glow. She declines a call from a prominent media corporation, a testament to her unwavering focus on her true purpose. My sudden notoriety brought many lucrative opportunities, but that was never my intention. I declined all the tempting offers, Maya recounts, her voice resolute. I was determined to complete my research report on racial prejudice in the corporate world. It quickly became an invaluable resource adopted by major organizations and companies. A heartwarming scene follows, where Maya distributes scholarships from a newly established fund. She hands certificates to a group of beaming black children, all of whom possess a visible talent for languages. Most of the compensation from the Chen Group I used to establish a scholarship fund. This fund will support Black children with a passion for languages, providing them with opportunities to learn and grow. Opportunities I once struggled to secure myself, Maya shares, her voice filled with warmth and hope. The scene shifts to Maya visiting her grandmother, who sits contentedly in a rocking chair, a gentle smile gracing her face. Maya embraces her, a tender moment illustrating her enduring connection to her roots. I returned to care for my grandmother, who taught me everything I know. But my work didn't stop there. I continue my charity projects and research. Maya affirms, her commitment unwavering. Maya is featured in an online interview, her gaze steady and inspiring as she addresses the camera. I didn't do this for revenge. I did it to prove that justice requires those who dare to stand up. Truth needs those who dare to hold onto their beliefs, Maya states with conviction. Each of us has the power to change the world, if only we are brave enough. A vibrant scene unfolds in a free language class for children in a low-synth neighborhood. Maya, animated and passionate, is teaching Chinese. My research became a source of inspiration. Many companies began to reevaluate their recruitment policies and work environments, Maya narrates, her voice highlighting the widespread impact. Mrs. Chen, the kind chef, was promoted and became a senior culinary consultant, a mentor for young chefs. The scene shifts to Richard Sterling, seated in a mandatory cultural diversity class, his expression one of clear reluctance. And Richard Sterling, that arrogant man, finally had to attend cultural diversity courses. Perhaps it's a small start, a slow change, but it's proof that no one is beyond transformation as long as they dare to face the truth. Maya concludes, acknowledging the possibility of redemption, however faint. The final scene returns to Maya teaching Chinese to a group of children. A small black girl with bright, inquisitive eyes raises her hand. "Teacher, can I be like you?" the little girl asks, her voice innocent and full of wonder. Maya smiles gently, bending down to touch the jade pendant around the girl's neck. A gift Maya gives to all her students. "You can be anyone you want to be," Maya tells her, her voice radiating hope and warmth, looking directly into the girl's eyes. "You just have to believe in yourself." The camera slowly zooms out, revealing the entire classroom filled with eager young faces. On the screen, a powerful message appears. Your turn. Will you stand up for what is right? Racial discrimination still exists everywhere, but it is not invincible. Knowledge and character are the most powerful weapons against prejudice. Each of us has a responsibility to create positive change. Never underestimate the power of those who are underestimated, because sometimes they are the ones who change the world.